Okay. This is my wife's space down in the basement. As you can see, she's a bit of a home vintner, a winemaker. Got some Chianti and an Australian Shiraz, about 60 bottles worth fermenting now. But this is her little space, her operation for the home venting. And since I'm unemployed right now and I have a lot of free time on my hands, I decided to try and turn this space into a full-fledged wine cellar for her, well, for us. So all I'm kind of do is kind of show you the space and talk about the job at hand, and as I complete the job, I'll take pictures, photographs, updates, so that eventually you can kind of see what was and then, you know, what it became. Obviously this is an unfinished basement room, probably intended for storage. You can see that most of our walls are already framed, studded, insulated. Ceiling is the bottom of the floor joist there. And we have two raw walls here that are actually foundation walls, you know, i.e. the earth, the dirt of our front yard is actually behind these walls. Now, we've never actually experienced any leakage on the wall. They're fairly dry, but just to be safe, I'm going to go ahead and dry lock those walls, because we're going to be building, you know, walls in front of them, finished walls in front of those foundation walls. We don't want any leakage behind the wall. So I intend on dry locking the walls, making sure that we don't get any leakage in the future. As you can see, the only light that we have in the space is the naked bulb. Obviously we want to replace that. I got a couple of can lights that I'm going to hang, put those in the ceiling. Should have 3 here above this space, and then 2 over here. This back corner over here will actually be a workbench, and we're going to put a deep sink here for Danette to use as her winemaking area. So I'll have 2 recessed lights up here, kind of down onto the workbench that's well lit. You can see the ejection pump here goes up and then through the floor joists in the ceiling, but for some reason, I don't know why, the builders did not put it above the floor joist. They actually put it below the floor joist. So we have to, I guess, cut, you know, using an elbow, raise that ejection pump, ejector pipe above the floor joists, so we can actually finish the ceiling without that pipe being in the way. Behind this wall here is the bathroom of the playroom in the basement. So you can see we've already got hot and cold water inlets, and we actually have, behind the insulation here, we actually have our drain. So we can tap into the drain for the deep sink and tap into the hot and cold water for the deep sink. Electrical is going to be an issue. I'm not an electrician at all. I'm planning on installing the outlets. I need an outlet here, you know, at counter height. This GFI outlet I want to drop down to floor level, and I'm not going to make it a GFI. I'm going to change it to a normal outlet since we're going to finish this space. I think code says I have to have an outlet on every wall or every 6 feet. So I'd have to have an outlet on this wall, maybe 2, at least 1 there, and 1 outlet here. So I'm going to go ahead and install the can lights and the outlets and run the wiring and do everything except for the actual connection, which I'll have to have an electrician do for me. I'm not going to mess with electricity. So after, first step I guess would be dry lock the walls here. After that we're going to frame the walls, and on the back of the frame, so that you have the studs, the frames out on the back side of the wall, we're going to actually have to put a vapor barrier, a 6mm plastic vapor barrier. It's either that or I have to pull down all this insulation and use the blown-in insulation. Since this space is going to be cool to about 55 degrees and the outside temperature is going to be obviously, you know, greater than that, it'll be prone to condensation. So I have to have that vapor barrier to prevent any condensation. So I'm going to try and install a vapor barrier in between each one of these studs and on the back of the frame before I raise it up on both of these walls. Once we do that, then we're going to have to install some green board, basically, you know, moisture friendly drywall green board on the ceiling, walls, all space. I have to frame right here for the refrigeration unit that's going to cool the space. It'll basically be like a window air conditioning unit that will actually vent into the space behind the wall, which is the kids' playroom. Should raise the temperature in that room a couple degrees, but it won't be an issue since with no heating or air conditioning, that space is always about 67 degrees anyway, being in the basement. So that'll raise it to 70, 72 degrees. So still very comfortable, and no need to heat it or cool it. The floor, we're still debating. We don't know if we're going to go with painted concrete or if we're actually going to install some sort of a stone or porcelain tile, fake stone looking floor. That's still something we're debating over. We do know we want to paint it with an exterior grade paint due to again the moisture. I believe dusty rose is kind of the direction we're leading. These walls here will be all wine racks. This back wall here will be a wine rack with an arch, and the arch will be empty. Behind the arch we'll put some sort of a mural, painting of a vineyard or something of that nature. Another wine rack here. I believe on this wall we're going to have a small patio table seat, maybe 3, maybe 4. Nothing real big, just something where we can kind of kick back and then taste some wine. And then again over here, deep sink and the counter. I want to do 2 cabinets, one here with a countertop balanced between the two, leaving that under space for the buckets, the carboys, kind of her equipment there that we'll hide with a curtain or a screen. They'll also give her the drawers for the smaller knickknacks, such as her filters, her corks, things of that nature. So it's going to be a dual purpose. It's going to be wine storage. I believe the plans that we drew up, it's going to be somewhere in the neighborhood of 850, 900 bottles of wine. And then on this side will be her wine manufacturing. So I've never actually attempted to do anything construction-wise, nothing of this nature. So I'm going to take some pictures, some photographs, maybe more video as we go along, so that you can kind of see how we progress to the job and whether I sink or swim here. So hopefully we'll kind of keep you up to date. Oh, one last thing, this door is an interior grade door. It's not insulated. Obviously there's no weather stripping on the bottom. You're going to lose a lot of your cool air to the outside atmosphere, so this has to be an exterior grade door. So we have to step this up, get an exterior grade door with all weather stripping to keep the inside wine cellar environment inside. And that's it, I think. Oh, and this ejection pump, we're just going to I believe paint that and try and hide that with fake grape leaves and vines and whatnot.